Good morning and welcome back to Country Wife Mommy Life. Today I'm going to show you how I plan out our homeschool year. This year we have 6 students. I have 7th grader, 5th grader, 2 3rd graders, and I have 2 children in kindergarten this year. And I'm simply going to show you what I start with, our curriculum choices, and how we plan this out for a year. This is my calendar from last year. I simply printed out a free printable online. This one was from the Flanders family, and this is how I wrote out our school year. So basically, every month, you can see I went in and I wrote down the holidays. I also wrote down when their birthdays are because I typically try to give them their day off of school on their birthday. So I just went through and I marked out all of the holidays because those were the days we were not planning to have school. So our first lesson would have started right after Labor Day, and our last lesson ended around May 4th. So that's what I had planned out. Our year went completely different because in the beginning of September, my father-in-law passed away, and it was just a big family a large family change. So this entire school year did not go the way I had written it down on the calendar. We did lots of traveling back and forth to various states, helping with a big family move and all the things that go into a family member, a close family member passing away. So that was last year's plan. This year, again, I'm starting with a fresh clean slate, and I'm going to go through and mark down all of the holidays, all of my children's birthdays, and then we'll start planning our lessons out. So after filling in all of the holidays that we take off school, the children's birthdays that they get that particular day off of their school, not all of them take off, but just the child who has that birthday. This is what it looks like after we're done. And I already know this is not going to go perfectly to schedule, and that is okay. This is just giving me a general idea of when we start school, which will be tomorrow, September 6th, and then when we're going to end school, which will be around the first week of May. So I already know in April we have an event. I'm just not sure when it's going to be yet. That has not been determined. So I know we're going to take some time off there, so we'll get pushed a little later into May, or we'll end up doubling up. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to go yet. That's in April. We'll get there. But this is just an overview, and I always print out a second copy and keep it blank so that if I make a mistake on this, I have a backup copy, or if I have to completely change it, I can put a fresh copy in place. That did not work with last year's because, like I said, we did a lot of traveling and helping family move and such. But this year, we're not going to be doing that. So that's over and done with. So I have a clean piece of paper so that I can make changes along the way. But this is the overall plan for the following year. Now that the calendar portion of the planning is done, that's the easy part, we're going to switch over to how I organize the books and lessons in this bin. I started doing this last year, and in previous years I've done something similar, but this bin last year completely changed the way I organize my homeschool life. And it worked very well. It kept everything organized, and it kept everything contained, which was most important in my house. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that next. This is my bin. It's just a Stairlight hanging file container, just like this. So inside, as you can see, I organized each student. Now I have twins that were in 2nd grade last year, so their stuff got put together. So we had Bible, arithmetic, that was more math. And then we had language arts. I had writing, and spelling. And then for 4th grade, same subjects. We had Bible, arithmetic, language arts, writing, spelling, yes. And then for 6th grade. So these file folders made it very easy to organize all the papers. And actually, we just put the books in, and then this is just all the papers that they completed for the last year. So it kept it nice and neat, kept it organized, and it kept it from spilling all over my schoolroom. So what I need to do at the moment is take out all of these papers, and at home I have a box that we store all these in for reference, just in case somebody would ever ask us, what have your children been doing? So I can show them, these are the papers that they have been doing, this is where they're at in their school. So I'm going to take all these out, and then we'll switch over to the curriculum. So here's what it looks like, all emptied out. They squish really well together. And it actually just occurred to me, I'm going to have to change all these labels to the current grade. So maybe I can just switch them. Yeah, they're blank on the back. So I'll just turn them around and rewrite the proper grades on the front. But so that's what it looks like empty. There's the big stack of everything I took out of there that I have to file away. And normally I keep my calendar pages tucked right here in the front, so I can always grab that at a glance and pretty much figure out where we're supposed to be so that we can kind of end on time. And it just helps us to kind of stay on track. And if I have that readily available to me, I will look at it and remember what we're supposed to do. Now we're going to switch over to the curriculum. So we'll start with kindergarten. So for kindergarten, I think I picked up this book at Walmart, I want to say. I think I picked it up at Walmart. It is basically a reproduction pages. So with my kindergartners, I focus on the basics: reading, writing, and arithmetic. That is all I teach them. I teach them how to write, and I teach them how to read. Because if you can teach your child how to read, they can go anywhere they want to in life. So I got this book. It allows me to reproduce the pages. So I used this for my twins when they were in kindergarten, and I will simply reproduce these pages, and my 5-year-old and my 4-year-old can do this book. For reading, it used to be called the Blueback Speller. This is from the Abeka reading program, and this is how I teach all of my children actually how to read. We start out with the ABCs, the alphabet. We learn the letters. We learn the sounds of the letters. We learn the names of the letters. We learn the vowels. And then they start after they learn all that, they start putting those words together. And this is how I teach my children to read. Most of the time, we don't even get all the way through the book, because by the time they're about halfway through it, 2/3 of the way through it, they're reading fairly well and can start in on books and such. But this is my curriculum for kindergarten. This is what I use to teach my children to read and write and to do arithmetic. Switching over to 3rd grade, there are 2 language arts books in here. We do use a Abeka book for the most part from the core of our curriculum for math and language arts. We fill in, history and science with some other things, but this is the core of their curriculum. So this is a grammar and writing work text, and so that is their language arts curriculum. And then for math, again, it's still from Abeka, and we do the quizzes, tests, and speed drill book, and then, oops, wrong side. And then the math book is in here as well. So 2 language arts books, 2 math curriculum here for the twins. And then for writing, they've already done manuscript. They've been doing that for several years. But we're going to start in on cursive this year. And again, this is a reproducible book, and I've taught all of my children cursive so far out of this, but they'll start at the beginning and they will work their way through learning how to write in cursive. Next up for my 5th grader, again, a Becca book. He will be doing the Arithmetic 5, so level 5 or grade 5. And then they packaged both of these together, but he will be doing the language B. And that will be his language arts curriculum as well as his math. And then for writing, he will be doing this penmanship mastery book that I got. Both he and my 7th grader will be working in this book just to continue on with their writing, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and have excellent writing. And for my 7th grader, for his language arts, we're doing grammar and composition. And again, they just package them together and that's fine. And then for math, we are actually going to be switching to teaching textbooks. That is a computer-based program. It's online, and I have gotten to a point where I have to go back and learn the lessons that he has done before I can help him with anything. So for the first time ever, we're going to switch curriculums and try the teaching textbooks for 7th grade math this year. Struggling here to get it open. Okay. Grade 3. Same thing, grade 3. Now, just a side note with that, these are their core curriculum, but for history and for science, we do a lot of reading. We get a lot of books through our local library. Our history curriculum this year will actually be the Mystery of History Volume 2, and that I've ordered through my local library, and we will be working on that this year. For science, we do a lot of, I guess, random science. We do a lot of gardening. We learn a lot about the nature, we learn a lot about the animals, and honestly, when they're this young, we kind of go with what they're interested in. So some child-led learnings, mostly adult, teacher-led, but that's what we try to do for a lot of those. And then for spelling, I will print off, I have my printer set up way down there, but for spelling, I will go online and actually look for their grade level and print off spelling sheets. And then what they do is let me switch you around here. They will work on these words, and then we'll have spelling tests once a week. So I'll give them, 10 to 15 words, and then during the week they'll have to look over them and learn them, how to spell them. And then at the end of the week we take a test, and they will learn how to write or spell the words properly that way. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my label maker, and I'll type out the child's name, and then I will place it in the top right-hand corner of the book so that they know which books are theirs at a glance, and they don't have to figure out what grade it is or whatever. So I've already done my twins books, and now I'm going to work on my 5th grader and my 7th graders books. This is what it looks like all filled in. I just went ahead and redid the proper grade level on each tag, and we'll some of these I'll fill in more as we go on, but we got the core subjects in. We got the math in for the twins, and then language arts, math for my 5th grader, language arts for the 5th grader, language arts for 7th grade, and like I said, with math, he will be doing an online teaching textbooks program on the computer this year. So the next thing I'm doing here is I have a bunch of just individual pocket folders, and what these will be is I will take the books out of here, so I'll pull out the math, I'll tear out a week's worth of lessons, and they will go in a folder that will then go in each child's binder. So they'll have a week's worth of lessons in a binder. So for example, this would be a week's worth of lessons in math, a week's worth of lessons in language arts, a week's worth of lessons in writing, and a week's worth of lesson in spelling, that type of thing. So that allows me to keep the books organized and put away. I tear out a week's worth of lessons, and every Sunday I typically go back through and I'll empty out the last week folder, and then I'll fill in the current week's folder with their new schoolwork. And that system just works really, really well for us. So right now I'm going to go through and label each of the folders with their proper titles. Well, that's pretty much it for how I set up our homeschool year. We looked at the calendar, we looked at the bin of things that I file everything into. I showed you the curriculum choices for each child, and then as the year goes on, we can also do, I can show you what we're doing for history, for science, for reading, that type of thing. I labeled all of my folders here, so I have one for math, language arts, writing, and spelling. And like I said, I'll get their books out and I'll tear out a week's worth of lessons, and then we'll fill those files, or fill those folders with that schoolwork, and they'll work through that for the week. So that's pretty much it. I copy off what I need to copy off through the reproducible pages, and then that's what we do. We learn throughout the week. So I hope you enjoyed this look through of how I plan out my homeschool year, and I'll see you soon with another video.